Hello, my friends. Tonight, we're going to go on a journey. We're going to go on a, let's call it, ontological journey through possibilities of a future that perhaps never quite manifested. What do I mean? So, there was this series from Wired Magazine called Artifacts from the Future, where it would combine different aspects of, well, not just futurism, obviously, but aesthetically, it was a haven for the designs of the future. And it was almost a, let's say, cynical, somewhat humorous a lot of times, and tongue-in-cheek way of reflecting back on current society at the time around the early 2000s, the mid-90s to early 2000s, what that sort of global post-Cold War consumerist mosaic society would manifest into. And I just wanted to go through each entry because there is an archive, even though Wired Magazine has since purged from its own website artifacts from the future, which in a way is significant because it seems that futurism is a dying profession because any future we can imagine is a prolongation of the banality of the now, but also something worse. To go quickly, artifacts from the future, cubicle from the future, we will go to it. But why do I find this interesting? I find this interesting because it's really highlighted a lot of the aesthetic choices, highlighted a lot of where things were sort of going in terms of the mood of the time. But also, I want to say that when it comes to particularly that millennial nostalgia blended in with what, the classic, I know it's so cliched and played out, but the like Mark Fisher ontology, Lost Futures, something that is relatively close to us in terms of time, because 20 years is not like that long ago in the grand scheme of things. It's barely a blink of an eye. It's my childhood. The reason that things like the Y2K Aesthetic Institute, in fact, this is how I found Cubicle Artifacts from the Future, was through a post on the Y2K Twitter page, or was it Instagram? I forget. I think it's fascinating how when you marry these things together, when you have a futurism that is relatively recent to our time, that in a way stings more than total like 60s or 50s or even 1920s retrofuturism. Because the average millennial, I truly think, probably won't get that same pit gut feeling. They might get other pit gut feelings out of watching a film like Metropolis, as opposed to, I don't know, watching a film like Hackers or, I guess, The Matrix. But they ruin The Matrix now, obviously. But I just wanted to read together these various posts. But before we do that, please like, share, subscribe, click the bell, donate if you must. Christmas is upon us. DM me for artwork. I'm trying to get the website up and running. Before we do that, I wanted to read to everybody. So this, but also another. So this is a double feature now. We're going to go through it, but also we're going to go through this article, the Wired Magazine Style Guide for Writing in the Digital Age. An artifact in amber. I think that this type of media is clever because it really shows how, futurism is always a mixed gamble. Prophecy is never truly complete. There was this time in the 1990s to the early 2000s where futurism had its last kick at the can. And now that those possibilities are sort of kind of shut from us, at least partially shut off from us, there is this essence of the sort of millennial nostalgia driving the aestheticism of our current age. something of sort of crass cynicism, but also kind of a little bit of optimism. Now it's just pure lament. It is pure, I want to go back. You know, every art hoe on Tumblr embraces the Y2K aesthetic or embraces soft grunge or whatever. It's the same sort of impulse. I think Zoomers are equally caught in this web of nostalgic longing for a ontological futurism of the very recent past. Because, of course, to them, they don't remember it, but, you know. So this is the Wired magazine's 1996 style guide for writing in the digital age. From bubbling in a certain way, mid-90s, Katie Couric saw the future of the internet better than almost anyone. Clips hosted by Today's Show capture the bafflement of talk show hosts trying to understand the nascent medium. So again, I guess like boomer tech meeting the digital age. Couric sounded like the jaded, terminally online, lost soul of the 21st century when she said, I'm afraid that if I subscribed to something like internet, I would get hooked and I would never spend time with my family. I guess she was Nostradamus there. Since the 1990s, the fate of the internet has been inextricably bound but to the language we use to describe it. Yeah, a series of tubes. That was really riveting when I remember that came out, the series of tubes thing. And in turn, the rest of the world, as new writing formats like email chat boards. Yeah, so this is what me and Default Friend were talking about on the podcast. This sort of Creole language of the internet has become even more numerous and nuanced and particular to a time and place that later becomes like a sort of infection that just spreads around like a total pestilence throughout the internet. So for instance, like you have terms even like, I hate to say this, but the vast majority of my online audience is from the, you know, online dissident, right? Whatever you want to call it. And you have like terms that developed on like weird forums like Sallow forums or on 4chan, but more so like forum culture when all of those guys in Frog Twitter decided to like move to Twitter. Now you have people like, you have like normal people, like not like semi-normal like Fox News boomer saying like NPC or saying like Bugman, I guess. Like I heard, I literally, I remember this was years ago, walking on campus, on my campus, and hearing someone say Bugman, and then I perked up and, you know, I think that's the way it sort of develops. I mean, us millennials, we pioneered that sort of MySpace speak of, you know, XD, RAR, 111, you know, that's... But then you'll see when this later on in this article. These linguistic mutations continue to make conversation daily, underpinned by an over-reliance on English that leaves vast swaths of the global population inhabiting web platforms less attentive to their specific needs. For example, hate speech in non-English language often goes unchecked. Yeah, learn Swahili, okay? Learn some Urdu if you want to like post gamer words, I guess. But then in the 1990s, unsurprisingly, one of the major players remaking digital discourse in the era was Wired magazine. Not anymore. Does people care about Wired anymore? You know, I think the last time they were relevant, ironically enough, was the Gamergate thing. By thing, I mean a total meltdown 9/11 of the internet. With a few issues establishing itself, a key player in the Bay Area, ever-ripening tech scene, Wired style principles of English usage in digital age in 1996. This is 96. Edited by linguist and journalist Constance Hale. I recently uncovered a copy of it while thrifting and was immediately struck by the precision of its historic moment. The instance we're writing about the internet was consequential enough to merit this kind of guide, serving as a supplement to existing reference text like Associated Press style guide to the Chicago Manual. Believe me, I know about Chicago style. 1996 was the year the U.S. came online, according to Pew Research Center. I think my mother had a computer before them, but like 96 was when she really started hardcore going into like Yahoo chat rooms back when that was the thing. And she would connect with people that, because like she spoke the language, obviously, she connected to people in both Italy and Brazil. And and some of them, like they ended up meeting IRL, you know, was the year the U.S. came online. According to a Pew Research study released that December, 73% of those polled had been on the World Wide Web at least once. Can you imagine what that felt like? Do you think they like really knew what they were getting into? This is 96. This isn't that long ago, right? I kind of remember 96. Was I in kindergarten? No, I was in like grade 2 or something like that. Year before, just 21% had been online. Furthermore, but like going on the internet was like the chic niche thing. Now the internet has colonized everyday life, as we know. So they were truly. My mother was one of the pioneers. My mother and my uncle, God rest his soul, my uncle Ralph. He like both of them like they were like not terminally online, but they were sort of like kind of, I guess by the standards of mid 1990s, terminally online. In the context, a print edition of Wired Style is itself a strange anachronism, a spiral-bound lime green and black Bible of emergent nerd speak, not dissimilar in appearance to the Matrix icon title card. Oh wow! As the book introduces and acknowledges, Wired Style is anarchic, fluid, rare, rule adverse. Yeah, not anymore. Actually, you have to have like key like this turn of phrase has to be like base, cringe, bugman, cringe, soja. It's like that one. I hate to give him props, but I remember one time Logo, he hit the nail on the head when he said it's kind of like that Star Trek episode where the one alien species, their language was based on like symbolic events that they would string together to mean something rather than an actual syntax. So it would say big, gran, invade, like they would, but like it meant, and so internet language is kind of like that. Like when you post a gigachad, you know immediately like what that means. When you post, like, Soy Jack, taking, it's like that's, it's an odd form of hieroglyph. So, but you have to realize that in the early internet and the Usenet days, it was like, there was still kind of that symbolic language. There was nascent prototype forms on MySpace and elsewhere of that type of discourse. So, isn't rule of verse, so beware the digital dictions in the book may someday ache for updates and clarifications. Yeah, I'm sure. Unfortunately, Wired magazine didn't predict GigaChad, so that's why it was available online at hardwired.com, which was meant to serve as a living, breathing language repository that itself manifested the changing norms around us. So this is basic 1990s like deconstruction, mosaic society, that the internet would basically melt everything into air, which it kind of has, but it kind of hasn't, obviously. And that the internet would create this one world digital sort of no man's land of the sort of nomadology variety. And that language itself would be so at the one end global, but then at the other end so fluid and changing and ever presently, going into the aether in and out, sort of like language would now become like, instead of full presence within a syntax, language would become this like clearing, as Heidegger would say. It would clear into a realm of understanding and meaning, which is kind of what meme culture is, but I wouldn't go that far, actually, because meme culture isn't like this anarchic fluid language of the subaltern. There is like a hierarchy there. There is a lot of like glow in the dark manipulation there. I know I'm sounding like a total schizo, but like whenever I talk about the internet, I think that's why people think people like Alexander Bard is crazy, right? Like I remember like reading Wired magazine hit pieces on Alexander Bard. But definitely I'm very interested in this. Like this, again, since the time I was young, trying to understand the internet like, every other millennial. That was available online at hardwired.com, which was meant to serve as a living, breathing language repository. Sadly, no mirror of the page seems to be made the Internet Archive or URL. Huh. Internet, a network of connected networks running TCP, IP, internet protocols. Internet protocols are a jungle of initialisms that are never spelled out, nearly always capitalized. HTTP, PPP. Oh, man, this is ancient stuff. It is cataloging function, providing useful terminology, split into chapters on topics like technical jargon, early web colloquialisms, emerging terms, words like pixel, screenshot, homepage. They had screenshots in 1996. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had. Yeah, I've seen screenshots from like pretty ancient forums that now scan as every day in our digital lives as some of the foremost linguistic experts. But see, that's the problem, because a lot of this stuff was basically wiped out on Web 2.0. A lot of this stuff was, even though there's like maybe some weird archive somewhere, a lot of this was just destroyed to the sands of history even quicker. It used to take thousands of years for papyrus to, fade away, or for the Greek temples to crumble into dust, or for anything, the Library of Alexandria to burn. Now it takes literally just a change in the internet protocol to wipe out a whole history of a people, right? The early netizens, the netocrats. Go and buy Alexander Bard's book. The book's primary purpose is to catalog function, blah, blah, blah. Wired editors engaged in an experiment in nonlinear networked editing to distill the web's emergent vernacular. So that's interesting how, in a way, it's like the spirit of 4chan or any of the Chan boards, in that something that is anonymous, something that isn't reliant upon a continuous archive of itself, but rather, unless someone's physically archiving it onto another hub, it's destroyed, it's lost the sands of time, nobody knows who's writing it. So this sort of incredible, like, imperceptibility and rhizomatic nature of it, I think that's what they were thinking of in terms of the internet. So therefore, the stylus guide had to, like, this linguistic artifact was itself exploded into an ever-present sort of, like, continuous work. But now, of course, it's completely gone unless you had to, like, have a physical copy in some, like, Silicon Valley thrift bookstore or whatever. New technical terms, buzzword, a bullshit buzzword, or especially gnarly acronyms to define something meaningful to its readers. The book abhors the over-reliance on prefixes like net, cyber, techno, phrases that become swamp rather than springboard for real understanding, which boosts phrases like jaggies. Who has used that in the past 15 years? Jaggies. Jagged edges of a digital image. Netiquette. Technopig. Data pagan and a cyber vegan. Techno pagan. That feel, yeah, again, Alexander Bard, he helped, like, pioneer a lot of this stuff that feels hopelessly tied to an internet long since dead. Like, yeah, exactly, which is kind of sad in a way. It's kind of like nobody, like, thinks of, like, you know, techno pagan, netizen, netocrat, data pagan, and a cyber vegan. That, I think that because, like, that was so brilliant about it was that you truly were, like, on this weird frontier that doesn't exist anymore, because the internet is, like, totally colonized now. As it has consumed real life, it becomes just as rigidified and just as colonized by the, like, global homogenous corporatocracy, like every other aspect of our lives. Unless you go to some, like, weird, crazy forms, which, by the way, doesn't exist anymore, or in the process of being eliminated. Because say if you were, like, some weird, crazy dissident, it's like, you know, eventually Antifa will get the Iron March logs, you know? Like, that's a good example of, like, there's no longer this, like, quest for own space on the internet. Beyond its index features, Wired style is also a paean to effective writing that wasn't necessarily obvious to skeptical readers. In the New York Times letter to the editor, one reader complained that the book preached to barely literate choir, arguing misspelling. Speaking of BAP, misspellings, missed words, poor usage. Except my fuck, please, my fuck. Hopelessly tangled construction reflect most surely on the perceived intelligence of the writer. Criticism of the web speak that persists into the present. Yeah, Chad. There you go. I'm trying to think of what normies know. Even that word normie. There you go. Like, that's... Did anyone use the word normie before 1996? I don't know. The fast proliferating churn of new content, thus Wired style task, was not meant to provide authorial guidance to fluid virtual conversations, but to champion the quirky, individualist spirit of the net, both online and in print. Which was the editors likened to the heady, drug-fueled styles of writers like Jack Kerouac and Hunter S. Thompson, obviously. Well, it's critics could bemoan Wired style's exertion of informational, informal but sharp writing, implicitly condemning internet discourse writ large. The book reads as a creation of literary geeks, first and foremost. In voice, in its paramount, the book's opening chapter, Hale tells readers that Wired celebrates writing that jacks us into the soul of a new society. Imagine, beyond its cyberpunk inflection, shares a messianic... I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. Messianic appreciation for novelty and good craft that would fit comfortably with countless other moments of mass social upheaval, like the hippie fervent that served as the precondition for the earlier counterculture favor of the tech sphere. Yes, and a lot of the hippie ideals, at least in the early days, went to Silicon Valley in the 1990s. You know, they went to do drugs and see Terrence McKenna rap at Eastland Institute, with some weird handlers in the background who have some credentials. Other cultural artifacts from the web's early days further bear out Hale's argument that people still needed sharp writing and a keen perspective to cut through the digital noise. In the fascinating 1999 documentary homepage, early web cyber celebrities gained traction. Oh, influencers! Oh boy. On new mediums like blogging and personalized website. I wonder if that's still, you could find that on YouTube. I wonder what the influencers were like in 1999 compared to now. I wonder, like look at like the cringe of early YouTube. Look at like the cringe of, well, everything is cringe in the beginning, I guess. You know, everything has to have a sort of sincerity about it, you know. Like, how do we go to, like, the advanced grifting we have now from, like, I don't know, Numa Numa or Fred or whatever, like Ray William Johnson. But, like, think of that concept of a net influencer, someone who is popular on a blog in 1999. Like, imagine being Curtis Yarvin. Like, as much as we all dump on him now, and, like, I've said, like, on the one end, I severely hate a lot of his thought, obviously, but and I severely hate his sort of, like, mystique and presence, because I truly believe he's just a lib at the end of the day. But at the other end, you have to appreciate that sort of mystique of, like, this early internet blogger coming to life in this new world where people are discovering, like, newer ways of thinking. But yet, I mean, I don't want to romanticize it too much, because at the end of the day, I think that there's a certain section of NRX that is basically like, let's do neoliberalism, but, like, without the brakes on, right? But it's like, well, that's another video for another time. But I do feel that, like, the first, like, internet artists, the first internet bloggers, the first, like, personalities on the internet, thousands of islands of, like, little GeoCity sites, blogs, and, like, having to find people's content the hard way compared to now. Like, it's incredible, in my opinion. It's something else. We met Hotwired editor at large Steve Silberman, who explains why Gen X sensibility found a home online where unvarnished self-expression could capture people's attention in new and special, surprising ways. Yeah, well, all of Gen X is cringe now, okay? Like, all of them, they're like, you want to know what's a good representation of Gen X? Go over to Twitter if you want to totally blackpill yourself in Gen X. Go to Twitter and, like, go to Steve Albini's TL. Go see what he tweets. Okay? That is what Gen X is now. These headstrong individualist rebels that didn't care about nothing, man. Like, he had that one band called RP Man. You know, I can't say it on YouTube. This is the guy that, like, produced Peter Sotos's Buyer's Market. Do not look that up. Do not listen to that album. Like, but yet this is the guy that says, like, you know, if you don't have the sacrament, that you should basically, anyways, just the whole mystique around Gen X to me is cringe. I mean, they did, I would say, just as much cultural damage as the boomers, as their boomer parents. Like, if you want to look at, like, I said this on the internet. I said this about the internet. I said that the sort of Gen X sensibilities that the internet was founded on, that no longer exists anymore. Like, that, in a way it's good, in a way it's bad. But there's, like, sort of a limit to irony poisoning. There is a limit to this, like, detached, I don't believe in nothing, man. Like, that always pulls towards the cultural order of the day. It always pulls towards, like, someone asked, like, how did, like, a whole generation that grew up on, like, cynical, edgy Gen X humor, like Family Guy and South Park, how did they become, like, you know, I guess, what would you say, social justice warriors, like, woke, offended everything? And I said, well, the reason for that is because, well, Family Guy, like, just pure lib through and through, obviously. But when it came to South Park, having been someone who also grew up on South Park to an extent, and having, like, not watched the past, I don't know, 5-6 seasons, like, it's lost on me. It's that mystique of it. Because I said the reason that this is reality is because if you have this sort of detached, bordering on nihilism attitude towards the world where I don't believe in nothing, man, and having beliefs are cringe, then you're going to believe in whoever can exert the most social pressure on you, whoever can exert the most cultural capital and political and cultural power. You are instinctively going to follow them. But more so, that type of edgy 1990 Bill Hicks, the early Jon Stewart, like, like having beliefs are cringe. That sort of, that attitude, you can very quickly understand how you can hack that sort of mentality towards, well, why are you questioning people's identities and why are you questioning their right to exist, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can very easily manipulate that into a quote unquote, yeah, I know I hate this term, it's so cliched, quote unquote, like woke outcome, because there's nothing, A, there's a void there, there's nothing, and B, that attitude is inherently lib anyways, right? Like, you can very easily gear it towards, well, as long as you make it, it makes you happy, bro. The sort of Gen X mystique of the particularly internet age among millennials and now Zoomers, that should just go out the window. If Kurt Cobain was alive now, he'd be posting cringe on Twitter. He'd be just like the Rage Against the Machines. He'd be just like Tom Morello, posting about, I don't know, voting for Biden because the chuds don't want to get their sacrament, whatever. Plus, Kurt Cobain was a male feminist, so there you go. Say no more, say no more. As the editors acknowledged, and he'd abandoned his family, he destroyed his wife and kid. Oh, God. Hey, man, I had a Nirvana phase too, okay? I cringe, but it's true. Even Wired sometimes slipped in the cliche writing, otherwise critiqued. The book discussed the Wired magazine phrase generator created by an engineer. You could pretty much create a phrase generator now, like the think piece bot, an over-reliance on certain shibboleths. As with contemporary parody accounts like the think piece bot, suggesting enduring truth about language. Certain linguistic patterns are often impossible to shake. In this, we can understand why fears about the web's power to remake language becomes overburdened or overblown. Wired style anticipated a future of meta debates around language and its mutating form online always hover at the edges of your digital conversation. A trend in gestation when the book was released. In some ways, so we're still at the meta level. It's very true. How the ways we speak online can jump off screen and back onto the page. Like, just look at these articles here from Wired. Maybe if you lived in Flint, you would be... Oh, that's actually probably a pretty based article. I mean, yeah, if you're going to... I mean, you can't even trust the government to, like, clean your water in Flint, Michigan, so there you go. Why brain game supplements and other cognition boosters can't fulfill their promises. Yeah, I wonder why. Go ahead, call your dog your fear for a baby science. Oh, there you go. See, like, that is the mutation of language. Oh my God. Listen, I treat my two cats like they're every cat I've ever had, I treated like a kid almost. But I'm not going to call myself a cat dad. That's just not happening. That is so cringe, like beyond belief. It's like, as Laura Miller recently put it in a review of Patricia Lockwood's No One Is Talking About This, a book widely praised for capturing the jagged, irreversible slipstream of social media discourse at its height. That was like that one book by Nancy Jo Sales. That was pretty good. But it was specifically about young women in the internet. The splintered, multivocal, interactive flow of social media feels inimical to single sustained voice of the novelist, intoning from page to page, untweetable and impervious to our DMs. Yes, because now you have a univocal pattern there, as I've talked about before. Now you have a conversation. The dialogue... This is why certain people who actually like read books still, people, I think when on BTR we were talking to Berto, he said like, yeah, the novel is dead, bro. Like, the novel is dying. I wonder why. Maybe the internet, the television killed the radio star, internet killed the novel. So, like, among other things, the internet has destroyed, embodied, and yeeted from public view, intoning from page to page, untweetable, impervious to our DMs. However much we still struggle to understand language multivalence purposes across different forms, there remains ample terrain for pushing against its limits whenever we are tasked with expressing ourselves. Even if Hill and her collaborators could not prepare us for a quarter century of linguistic unruliness, they did at least warn us of the internet's soon-to-be omnipotence. And this is the important part, ladies and gentlemen. To its credit, the book anticipated the existence of an iPhone. Only here, it's a generic term for the emergent tool of internet telepathy, specific trademark held by Volcotech Inc. So I think, yeah, as soon as smartphones got introduced, like, that was the pure, like, Gnostic black screen invading everyday life, writ large, always being like kind of like Neuralink, but like still physical media outside of ourselves. Truly the switch flipped on, I guess you could call it acceleration of all things. 20 years before the AP Style Guide would formally declare an end to the capital I internet, suggesting a common familiarity with the tool now used by billions globally. Wired Style already saw the future we inhabit today, with the guide's lowercase I internet referring only to a network of connected networks running TCP/IP, a generic term distinct from the new internet spaces being rapidly populated in the mid-1990s. The book came with a warning, all too obvious now. As the internet subsumes every physical network in sight, the distinction is disappearing. Yes, that is true. So, we're at this point now where people are like on this video, where's the future artifacts, man? Well, I wanted to say this because this article goes along with the future artifacts in the sense that there is an anticipation of certain things in the future. A lot of it is accelerating trends that were already present, but also the sort of unique ways in which they were still thinking in terms of like devices being unique and distinct and discrete things instead of like one device ruling everything. So this is what the artifacts of the future are saying here. Continue creating new artifacts in the future, upcoming issues wired. So yeah, they cut this off around the mid 2000s. Typical cubicle in 2013. This is what they thought was the cubicle was going to look like in 2013. Continue creating new artifact from the future in the upcoming issues, blah, blah, blah. Suggest your vision, return here, upload your ideas, blah, 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 blah. So this is some of them, but we will go through them. All right, here we go. So this is a blog, an archive. The Skeptical Futurist. I don't know how to pronounce that. The Complete Wired Future Artifacts Gallery 2010. So this was retrieved around 2010, but I think the series started in like 2002, I think. Please find attached here within Stirs and Lady Persons from your pursued delectation another year's harvest of found artifacts from the future, Wired Magazine's perennial book back pager, and if may make so bold, its star feature, edited low these many moons by one and only Chris Baker. So someone grabbed this when the time it was coming out. So here we have, this is what they thought a park was going to look like in the future. So here we have Caution Critters, Florida Fish and, oh my god, Florida, it has to be Florida. Extinct 20-pound swamp pigeons were engineered to avoid boat propellers. They're common prey for Florida pythons. Oh, God. That's how, see, biohacking CRISPR, this is how we're going to solve the ecological catastrophe. Saber-toothed marsh rat. Lab animals released into the wild by PETA. So, like, 28 days later, but, like, you know, this. By PETA activists in 2092, visitors are cautioned to avoid packing aromatic cheeses. So I guess no crotonets. Yeah, I mean, it's bold of them to assume that nature parks will still exist in 2092. Blinding armadillo. Diaspix movementis cordis. Reflective thermal plates countering high UV radiation. So I guess they predicted that the higher UV radiation. Warning, roadkill glare is the leading cause of auto accidents. Amazing, amazing. Ratbot, Ratborg 3000. Rodent brain upgraded with thousands of invasive maneuvers. So is that for your cat to play with? Poke me, I shriek and thrash. Mouth-watering flavors, original rat tuna lizard cheeseburger. Oh, so like it's like flavors for your cat. That's pretty cool. So here we have liquid plumber cardio. So you have your pills, you have your Mountain Dew, and look, I guess that's your cardiac meter. It says heart attack imminent. Oh God, compatible with all vat-grown organs. Oh, I thought I was gonna say all vegetable oils, but that's probably true. Dissolves clots on contact, unclogged arteries in minutes. That would actually like save a lot of people if they had that. Triple action. I guess so. What is it like? Is this basically like warfarin, but you like take home, drink it yourself? Triple action plaque busting nanoparticles. So it's funny. I think like how they predicted this sort of like obesity and like heart disease epidemic would like continue into the future. That's pretty funny. FDA and AMA approved. Warning before use, check your generic profile for mutations. Oh man, so they even predicted that you would basically the Human Genome Project would be so successful that you can actually see the genes, like you can take everyone will have a universal gene profile. I think you can take genetic tests actually. You can to look for different things, especially if you have a family history of certain things. Mutations, don't take with aspirin or erectile dysfunction treatments. Do not use reconfigure surgery. Many cause internal hemorrhaging or rupture. Is that the Mountain Dew? Or is that the Drano? That's a Drano. Here we have real life. I guess this is like a kids party. Bold of them to assume there will be grass in the future. No batteries required. No, Dow Chemical Company. Warning. Supervision required for producing feelings of euphoria and or ball may return to the causing injury to eyes, perspiration, muscle fatigue. Contents ball 82-page instruction manual. Oh, I get it. So this is in the future. You will have a ball as a novelty because your life will be so immersed in doing nothing, in becoming a pod dweller. You're going to eat the bugs, eat the bug protein they're going to make it taste like anything you want. You're going to drift off into a pod like it's some kind of 0 HP Lovecraft fantasy. Nightmare, sorry. Congratulations on your purchase of ball. Oh, so it can lead to heart palpitations and like hypertension. Can lead to feelings of euphoria when you're chasing a ball around. This is clever actually. This is pretty clever. How it's kind of like something that is so simple and plain to children going back like literally thousands of years, playing a ball. It's like playing with a ball. It's like now it becomes this futuristic item when technology has wiped away memories of this style of like, natural playing outdoors. Purchase of a ball TM. Ball is sure to provide hours of delightful physical interactions. Ball is a masterpiece object that you can grasp and manipulate. Ball will not respond to voice, keyboard, or thought commands. Oh my God. Oh, that is clever. That's clever. Like, it's like, people make jokes now about Zoomers or like, those stupid videos. Who's that the two guys that were like grifters, like, that Psychic Pebbles took down, the Fine Bros, where they're like, let's give Zoomers ancient technology. It's like, record player or whatever. It's just like, it's like spoofing that even like way back in the, early 2000s. What is this? I have to, let's see. Yes, I am your parent, just me all alone. Like Adam's gal Eve, you were meant for my home. From deep in my marrow, they took DNA and used it to copy me in every way. We're exactly the same. Oh, so I guess what do they call that? Hermaphetical, abiotic reproduction. Is that what they call it? Where it's like, only like seahorses, like only one parent. We're exactly the same. You're my little twin. I liked me so much that I made me again. I know how crucial other children can be. Hey, Xerox. Hey, knockoff. Hey, facsimile. Oh, this is hilarious. They'll tell you you're worthless. You have to ignore them. They'll claim I just made you to harvest your organ. Oh my God. You've made your actual donor child. That's an actual thing, the donor child. There was a movie with, I don't like her that much, because like every actress in Hollywood is terrible. Cameron Diaz. That's an actual thing, the donor child thing. That's terrifying. I'd never do that. I'm on the Heartless Monet machine. A Heartless machine. And that practice was outlawed in 2019. So, oh my God, the donor child was outlawed in 2019. Oh my God. Oh, that's terrible. That is terrible. Man, I love early I'm another thing I found on the Y2K feed, Aesthetic Institute. A good friend of mine actually was. I shouldn't say it. But I know someone who's involved. Put it that way. Another thing I found was called The New Nomads, which was a Phillips design book of fashion in the future and how technology would integrate into our clothes. And I think I'll maybe do a video where I'm thumbing through it if people are interested, because the dialogue is quite revealing. Sierra Design Immerse Multi-Dome. So you're going to live in the pod. Enjoy your favorite shows in the great outdoors. This Rocket AV10 is your home theater away from home. So I guess this is kind of like the tiny homes, but like tent form. People that have satellites in their tents. That was a thing back in the day, by the way. People will go camping that have like portable satellites. Carbon nanopoles, HEPA filter. Oh, I guess because like you kind of need it. The pollution will be so terrible. Or you know, other illnesses, if you know what I mean. Rainfly, H2 fuel cell, vacillator floor panels, flexible OLED fabric with 340p, 3240p resolution, and 60 million to 1 contrast ratio. Glasses 3D. That was a thing back in the day. I remember as a core millennial. The 3D thing was like, they thought, oh my God, that was going to be a thing in the future. I remember going to see the Spy Kids movie, 3D. Sense Sim compatibility, built-in 7G. 7G! So if it... I guess like brain cancer in the future is just going to be like the common cold. Free unlimited subscription to Netflix, Hulu, Comcast, Multiverse, and Apple Cocoon through January 1st, 2023. Apple's audio noise canceling speakers. Man. CNET Editor's Choice Outdoor Gamer Magazine. Outdoor Gamer. Oh, Outdoor Gamer. That's hilarious. So now we have... So I guess this is a generic shopping list. Airlift via Gen Atomic Search Rescue Drone Alpha, $12,000. Cryptogenic brain protection with hydrogenic solid stasis. Oh, this is the Walmart surgical clinic. The Sand Flats. So again, this is Silicon Valley people. So I guess America is going to be destroyed, and they're gonna have different regions. So this is the Sand Flats. O'Brien James C. Ming. So, oh my God, they predict it. Wired predicted AXA, Aryan Asian fusion. Mountain biking accident, Slick Rock Trail. Black metabolic profile, whole genome sequencing risk analysis, quorum disruption, antibiotics to vancomycin-resistant staph infection, vancomycin. Oh my God! So in the future, antibiotic-resistant germs are going to be wild. I can't say that on YouTube, but the R and auto injection for pain control. Oh, so it's like a but only for pain control now. Near infrared fracture imaging, biosulfate coated ZNS quantum dot contract agent, Da Vinci surgical robot services, 4.3 hours, remote surgery, Dr. Deweer Cochlea Mumbai Medical Center, muscle cartilage and tendon grown for knee replacement. Bone. Oh my God, you got like wiped out in this accident. Bone tissue cultivated for skull repair. Opt-in elective procedures. Canary DX cancer screening, $30. So that's only $30. Gut bacteria replacement. Oh, that's going to be common. That's pretty good. Your total amount covered by Antenna Commu Care Plan. So it's $22,000 for all of that. I guess that's like cheaper than American prices, I guess, nowadays. Welcome. So I love the Y2K aesthetic here. This is amazing. Welcome aboard in accordance with the Travel Safety Act of 2021. Wow, we're in 2021. It's almost over. The in-flight movie is canceled and the following restrictions apply. Buckle up, no mobile phone, no laptop, no tablets, no video games, no smoking, no medical marijuana, Canada. No performance enhancing drugs, no dopamine boosting, no unobtainium freebasing, no gum chewing, no virtual reality, no teleportation, no cyborg arm wrestling, no parkour. So in the future, people are going to do parkour in the plane, and they're going to have like crazy, trippy, like translucent Y2K aesthetic, pink pastel. That's going to be amazing. Robo Bouncer T151 visual display 10/19/2024. So in 2024, they're going to have robotic bouncers. Retinal scan complete target Carol Dumas, born in 2006. She looks pretty old for being born in 2006. Crime, underage alcohol consumption, disregard. Recommend response, offer drink tickets. Retinal scan complete target Arthur Skip Alexander. Crime frequents alcohol to a minor, first degree misnomer. Recommend response, cheese, eject from bar, notify authorities. Priors, public intoxication, class misdemeanor violation, T21 open container. Wow. Douche factor 79%. That was like that the old school Plenty of Fish, like 100% enemy. That one guy that had the look with his arm where he's like, I can make you squirt. Like he's had like a 100% enemy rate. I guess this is where you eat the bugs. Chacria herdioponicoquina. So the future like mestization of America, that's going to that's going to change our food as well. Oh my god. Today's special is vat-grown chicken mole with hypernomic greens, vegetable fajitas with local shiitake mushrooms and corn tortillas. Vat-grown. Oh, so at least you have like vat-grown, like you don't have just bug protein. Horchata with synthesized cinnamon. Tocinos, so you have chorizo there. Pero la Siena in vitro grown meat, soil and verde, sesos, lingua, al pastor, chorizo pola. Touch here for English. San Diego Department of Health, 93% rating. This is a good one. Aubrey de Grey, 1963 to 2092. Memorial Recreation Capsule. Halo 3 Age Division. Resvetorio Smoothies. Performance by Liam Michael. Starve Grease 3 Grease X. Shuffleboard. That's Shuffleboard. No, Canasta is the card game, no? Polypotent Stem Cells. A talk by Dr. Anup Bachman. So continuing with the AXA into the future. These features are gathered under a single page. At Wired, the complete Wired Artifact Gallery 2009. Oh my god. Health warning. Contains elevated levels of high fructose corn syrup, which has been associated with an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Happy Meal. Fry 'em how you like 'em. Personal McFryer included. A personal McFryer. Like, oh my god. A micro fryer within the packaging. Coke flavored. Free Flintstones Ritalin. Cherry Blast. I would love a Cherry Blast Coke. Like, I remember when Cherry Coke, they had the Cherry Vanilla. I remember when that came out. That was, vat-grown Kobe beef. Kobe beef will be so cheap because it's grown in a lab. That's in McDonald's. Honey mustard, brain spike, endorphin rush, sweet and sour. So this is The Office in the future. Hold meeting set to begin 2 minutes ago. Look at him. He's like, damn. Oh, you have like one of those Cokes there. That's pretty clever. Kitty, that's in the background. You have 4 holo call meetings, 1 TPS report awaiting updates, 3,000 unread emails, 137 unviewed video mails, and your plants need watering. Not porn. TPS reports 2016, TPS reports 2015. Rhomba 2217117. The living room floors are getting dirty. Would you like to run a sweep? Riot Girl 1993. Dad is having trouble reprogramming the Roku. Can you come over tonight? Subject holo call start. Where are you? Request for vacation denied. TBS report. Get the menu. New mortgage. Save the date. Retirement party. Best port ever. Request vacation. New procedure. Hurry. Hot stock on rise. I guess that's the future crypto people. Monthly urine blood scan. I guess you have to have a monthly urine and blood scan. Data figures. Casual Saturdays. World's greatest AI program. Oh, God, that's so sad. Next to the Coke. Oh, is that his, like, siblings, I guess? Free ultrasound car wash if we don't have a fuel that's compatible with your car. Red Bull Overdrive. 2021, that's here. 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Unleaded. High performance unleaded diesel. Uncle Willie's Kind Green. I guess they anticipate the marijuana. It's like hemp fuel. Sour Mash Premium Select. First 5 minutes free electrical. E. coli bacterial blend. General Electric. Everclear ethanol blend. Hydrogen. So this is the fuel in the future that they thought. Oscar Mayer methane. Oh, I guess they're going to, reduce the CO2, reduce the global warming by capturing all of the animals farting. Because according to that, I effing love science, Kurtzkagar, whatever that guy's name is on YouTube, that group, it's like, can't eat beef anymore because of the farts, right? Starbucks Diner. WHFTA enforcers are watching. Is your rig up to code? Western Hemisphere free trade agreement. Oh, this is terrible. Look, Garmin LoJack for toddlers. Amber Alert. Oh, God. 2019. So by 2019, they're going to have this. Get your child back fast, safe, and with minimum expense. Fact, a single lost or kidnapped child can cost a family more than $35,000 in search and rescue fees. Oh, I get it. It's to chip your kid. So I guess like child kidnapping would just be so rampant in the future. Increase your odds of seeing your child again. Our response team recovers 3 out of every 4 lost children. That's pretty good. Protected with LoJack. Easy to follow instruction. Our technicians are standing by to assist. Easy to install. Oh my God. So your children become like this, like just another item that you have. Easy to install. Implant the chip yourself in 3 easy steps. Choose the chip locally that is most comfortable for your child. Never pay another ransom. Never pay. I guess if your kid is like your property. This is like a libertarian dream right here. An anarcho-capitalist dream. Never pay for another ransom. LoJack for teens with blood alcohol sensors. So I guess the teen version has blood and alcohol sensors. The world's only implantable child tracking device. Kit includes 1 sterile syringe, 1 GPS tracking. Altoids. The original celebrated Altoid Smart. So Altoid becomes like a nootropic. Cherry Bellum that's pretty clever. Cherry Bellum explosion. Curacy Smart Gum. With great heat comes great intelligence. Contains caffeine, ginseng, Adderall, and modafinil. Is that the drug that all the Silicon Valley people take, modafinil? Now with RTX 451, 5 times hotter than jalapeno. Boosts your IQ 60 to 80 points for 8 hours. Does not affect IQ above 200. That's good to know. So I guess like in the future you could just like pop a nootropic like gum. Excessive sweating, nausea, numbness, convulsions, speech defects, hearing loss, chest pains, Rapidly failing blood pressure, difficulty breathing, chewing more than 6 Altoids 48 hours can cause swelling in the prefrontal cortex, leading to brain hemorrhaging. Avoid use while flirting, voting, dining at Applebee's, or watching VH1. Wow, bold to assume that people are going to watch VH1 in the future. Must be 18 or older to purchase, except in Arizona and Nevada, of course. Afterglows. Oh, cool mint. Birth. Oh, so it's birth control that you smoke. God, it's terrible. What am I talking about? This is, oh my God. Ortho McNeil Janssen Pharmaceuticals. Important information: contains meloxicam, an enzyme inhibitor that impedes ovulation to prevent fertilization 99% of the time. Isn't meloxicam the pain medication? It's an analgesic or whatever they call it. Warning: do not use Afterglows if you have asthma or lung disease. Side effects may include coughing, dry mouth, and hoarseness. Afterglows can also relieve symptoms of shame, regret, and disappointment. Approved by the FDA and the U.S. Office of Population... They might as well have that now. That's what they're going to do next. U.S. Office of Population Control. Killer Robo Pet Virus. Oh my God. DNAmatch.com. Find genetic... Oh my God. I love this because despite all of this like future technology, it still assumes that like Web 1.1 layout. I love this so much. With a glass of wine. Holoday, don't forget. A holodate, a hologram date. DNAmatch.com, find genetic bliss. Give us your saliva. We'll give you your mate. Hello, Igotolov. Your main risk factor. Haplotype for tobacco dependence, markers for breast cancer. Recessive genes for stuttering. She sounds pretty cool. Your genetic advantage. Sprinter's gene. Life expectancy 99 years. That's pretty cool. Bold to assume that our lifespan would increase. The life expectancy. Variation for high performance memory. Biological clock tick. Oh my God, they would never put this. Oh my God, no eggs. They predicted the no eggs meme. Command Cool, age 43. He doesn't look 43. Mutual scent attraction, 92%. So he's got a good scent. I guess a red light. Oh no. Oh my God, red light. DNA profile, 50% chance of schizophrenia within 10 years. Life expectancy, 69 years. IQ, 114. This guy's like the midwit of midwits. Excellent hand-eye coordination. Propensity for gaming fetishes. Natural unibrow. So this guy's basically a gamma male. Slight lisp, verbal skills 90th percentile, legs 11% longer than average. Wow. Calculated profile for beautiful baby boy, see outlook for girl, 86% chance of IQ minus 130, 67% chance of alcoholic addiction, 59% chance of obesity, 25% chance of Asperger's syndrome. Wow, a fat spurg. Karaoke Pro, age 31, mutual scent attraction 70%. There's a green light there. DNA profile, lactose intolerant, life expectancy 105 years, IQ 185, fondness for Irish folk dancing, humor and novelty-seeking genes, 100% chance of baldness, experience alcohol flesh reaction, optimism 83rd percentile, addiction gene absent. This guy's a perfect phenotype. Calculate profile for baby girl, 96% chance of perfect pitch, 90% chance of super athlete traits, ace 4% chance of dimplets, 73% chance of widow's peak. Oh, the thumb. Gene matches are algorithmic and based on probabilities, not a crystal ball. DNAmatch.com is not liable for consequential, emotional, reproductive, or other damage of any type. I think like some people were floating the idea of like an actual DNA matched website, like dating website. I think that was a thing for a little bit, but then of course, people canned the idea. It would just be too, alienating. Just not into today's matches. Check the traits you find unattractive, no explanation required. Close talker, vegan, redhead, tequila weakness, ambidextrous, recombinant. Oh God. Character cluster helps find the whole package. Nester TM. Nice guys with paternity scores in the 95th percentile or above. boyfriend material, men with known drive and stability traits, wild child, party animals with at least 80% of known risk-taking genes. Grow a nanoraptor. So it's not like those. It's real. It's not like those stupid dollar store plastic things that grow in the water. Extinction isn't necessarily forever. So in the future, Jurassic Park would be like 100,000 times lamer than the movies. Forebears of nanoraptors went extinct 65 million years ago using our patented gene tweak technology and actual dinosaur DNA. Our scientists have brought them back to life. Watch out, grow a nanoraptor has sharp razor-like claws. Do not leave it unsupervised with other pets, including other grow dinosaurs, or in rooms with furniture, not for families with children under 3 years old. Yes, it does tricks. Teach it to sit, teach it to fetch, teach it to eat right out of your gloved hands. Educational fun. Watching a nanoraptor hatch is science's finest miracle ever. Kit includes fun and fact handbook, live egg and incubator, dehydrated food, I am perfect pet. Nanoraptor grows up to 2 feet tall. My egg hatched. Now what? Fun and fact handbook. Everything you need to know. Raise a tiny prehistoric carnivore. To keep your grow raptor healthy and happy, feed it 1 tablet of food per day. Do not feed it more frequently. Although grow nanoraptor is genetically engineered to stop growing once it reaches 2 feet tall, it can get larger, much larger, if it eats too much. If your pet does outgrow your home, please do not set it free. In the interest of public safety, please donate your grow raptor to your local zoo. Dehydration pills. Oh, look, it gives you the egg and the... it breaks out of it. It breaks out of it. Nice. Oh, my God. Alcoholics Anonymous Accelerated. Who needs 12 steps? We'll give you them in 3. Everyone... So, again, this is the zenith of consumer culture. Overeaters Anonymous. I love how they anticipate that in the future. That's the reality. Nutraceuticals. Next week, nutraceuticals. Learn to manage your consumption of bio-fortified pills and powder. This too shall pass, using nanomites in moderation to combat kidney stones. Whoa. So they're endemic in the future, Recycle your antique cable. Weaving jack-o'-lanterns. On your 4th face graft this month. Worried all those implanted RFIDs will cause sarcomas? Tired of neodymium fingertips getting stuck in your fly? Body mod addict support group. I wonder if having near constant body modifications could probably lead to some kind of soft tissue sarcoma. I don't know. Recovering gadgetaholics. Resist impulse purge. Man, this hits close to home actually. This hits our time. They have retreats now where you get rid of technology. Balance relationships in SMS. Identity elevate phantom device syndrome. Wanted kick-ass drummer. Robo DJs, beat makers, and deadbeats need not apply. Banned as management booking agent. 360 deal with Apple, so don't waste our time. Blink-182 cover band seeking analog percussionist for recording touring through summer 2019. Oregon Sunshine. Vote yes on an Oregon Sun Shield. Wow, so I guess global warming, they're going to have sun shields. And there's the coffee. Wow, they have coffee and donuts in the future that, I guess they're made of bugs, I guess. I don't know. So this is the first half. I'm going to upload another video we're going to add to this.